As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Sleeping with the Numbers podcast. Dylan here, and the NFL preseason is over. Final rosters are being announced, and we are about ready to get into the NFL season. Fantasy football draft should be happening if they haven't already, and if they have happened already, probably should join a different league. You're drafting too early. You know, right now it's fine. The preseason's done. All that should be fine, but if you're drafting like before preseason even starts, week 1, 2, 3, wait until it's over. People are going to get hurt. We're going to find out that Jonathan Taylor is going to start the season on the pup and not get traded, but people are still going to draft him in the second round because you're drafting way too early. Don't do that. Wait until the last minute, get all the information you can, and that is the way you run a fantasy football league. It's just better for everyone. You know, you don't want to go in and draft. Jonathan Taylor's the example I already used, but let's do Josh Jacobs instead. You don't want to go in with Josh Jacobs' situation, draft him in the second, the third, if he makes it there, and then he holds out. Now, the current CBA makes it very difficult to hold out. He'd lose a lot of money, but let's just say it happens, you know? Or even someone big, Justin Jefferson. Let's say he tears his Achilles in practice. He's out for the year. You know how many people would have drafted him first overall in most leagues? It's just not a good thing to do. So best to wait until preseason's over. Labor Day weekend's usually a great time. People have off work. You can get together with your buds and get all the drafts out of the way. So with that said, I've been talking it up every week here. I have been iterating upon my win totals for all of the teams. And today's the day we are going to lock in our bets for the over-unders on the win totals. We're going to run through every single team, give a little talk about each one of them, why I feel one way or the other, and we're going to lock them in. I do this every year, and it's quite fun to do this process, to see where you think you are with teams, because, you know, I go in, of course, with a bias at first, right? And then I start running through every game of the season, and I pick my winners, and by the end, I'm sometimes surprised with myself. You know, I hate the Bears. I think they suck. I think Justin Fields isn't a good NFL quarterback. I have them going 4-13 somehow, but it's a process. It's good to check my biases like that and see where I am with each team. So let's do it. Let's hop right into the over-under bets for the win totals on the regular season. We're going to go in alphabetical order just because that's how DraftKings has it listed. So starting with the Arizona Cardinals, their current line is sitting at 3.5 wins, minus 145 to the over, plus 120 to the under. And this is one that I cut very, very close. I ended up with the Cardinals getting 4 wins. So I am going to go to the favorite there, the over. Now, with that said, you know, I don't have them getting a win until week 10 against Atlanta. You know, maybe that's when Kyler is back. That's kind of what I'm hoping here. But they have a pretty rough go here. They cut Colt McCoy, who was expected to be their starter. Now it's up in the air who their starter is. It's going to be an interesting start to the season against the Washington Commanders. Then they play some NFC East teams with the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys. Then they are going to play their division mates, the 49ers. Then the Bengals, LA, Seattle, Baltimore, Browns. You know, it is not an easy going for the Cardinals. With that said, to get under 4 wins can be challenging for a team. You know, they can poop out a win any way they can. I have them winning against Atlanta, like I said. I have them getting a win against the Rams, who I'm not super impressed with this season. We'll get to them, but I actually have them with less wins than the Cardinals, which is pretty damn wild. I do have them getting a win over San Francisco. It has happened with Kyler. They've been doing it. Maybe they get it done here at home after their bye week. But as a contingency plan, The Steelers, my team, are very well known for getting beat by the worst teams in the league. So while I do have the Steelers winning for this process, it can easily happen. That is something the Steelers do every single year under Mike Tomlin. You know, we can give him all the praise we want, and you know, to an extent, he deserves it. Never had a losing season. That's all great and fine. But why do we keep losing to these horrible, horrible teams, Mike? It's just something that happens every year. We always see it, and we always expect it as Steeler fans. We kind of know what we have as a team right now. But we look really good. We look really good, and that is scaring the hell out of me. Enough about the Steelers. This is about the Cardinals right now. So with that said, I am taking the over for the Cardinals at the minus 145. I have my bets in units. Now, the reason I do that is because not everyone has the same bankroll. Some people have a massive bankroll. Some people have a small bankroll. So betting in units is a nice way to keep it consistent across the board. So personally, my unit, I use $10 units, so that's a $10 bet for me. But let's say you want to play with a little more fire. You know, a unit for you might be $100. Or if you're a low roller, you just want to have some fun, maybe your unit is just $1. It doesn't matter. Betting in units is how I like to show what I'm doing, and it's easier for those following along to adjust. You know, I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to bet $100 here on this team. You know, people can't do that. They might feel like, oh, I have to bet $100. No, you don't. You bet your own units and you go with that. So that's why I am using units. It'll be on our website and on Action Network, where we will be tracking. Next team here, the Atlanta Falcons. This is, I've tried to give best case scenarios to get to this win total, and I haven't really been able to do it. Their line is at 8.5, and it is minus 130 on the over. So the favorite right now is the over with plus 105 for the under. I couldn't get there. It's just a big jump for them as a team, which I do not see. You know, you get a great pick with Bijan Robinson. You know, that's super exciting and everything. Probably the wrong pick as an NFL team, but for fantasy, you know, we all love that. You know, last year they ended the season with 7 wins. All right, fine. Give them 2 more for that 8.5. And that really is because their division is just horrible. None of them ended up with a winning record. And I believe I have it the same this year. No, I don't. I have the Saints actually getting a winning record. And that's what I'm talking about when I say I surprise myself here. I hate Derek Carr. I don't even really like the Saints, but Derek Carr in general, I just despise. I think he's incredibly mediocre. So I am surprised here that I have the Saints where I do. But right now we are talking about the Falcons. Ritter coming in as their starting quarterback. Does he take that step forward? They haven't really seen it. Does not look great. You know, you look throughout the preseason, he looked okay. And if you go back in last year for Pro Football Focus, he was rated where's he at? I can't even find him. Desmond, there he is. Jesus. Yeah, so, okay. Desmond Ritter was hidden here for whatever reason. And he ended up, he's on the next page. He ended up so low. My God. All right. Desmond Ritter. He ended up tied for the 34th best quarterback by Pro Football Focus. That is tied with Cooper Rush, Gardner Minshew, and Skylar Thompson. Still better than Deshaun Watson, who finished at 35th. So, suck it, Deshaun. Bum. Yeah, so he was not great. Now, we know Atlanta's not a passing team. That's why they drafted Bijan. They're going to run the hell out of the ball. Bijan's going to get a ton of work. I really want him in fantasy, but I'm not in a spot to get him. I'm going to be upset. But with all that said, I could not get to that line of 8.5. I ended up having that getting them 6 wins. So I'm going to be taking the under at a plus 105. So give us a better payout there. I will take that gladly. Baltimore, division rivals here in the AFC North. Their win line is currently at 10.5. So that, I believe, is tied for the highest. Philadelphia and Kansas City might have 11. Kansas City does have 11.5. Philadelphia does have 11.5. So very close to the highest win total here at 10.5. The under is currently the favorite at minus 120, with the over at even money. And I hate that I ended up here, but I think the coaching change is good. Lamar gets back. They surround him with some more weapons. I'm not counting OBJ because he doesn't count anymore. The schedule for all at AFC North really is not that bad. Some of the toughest matchups will be within division. They also play the Chargers here, which I think will be a pretty good matchup here. I'm fairly high on the Chargers. They also play San Francisco, who's third favorite by Pro Football Focus to win the Super Bowl, which I don't buy into, but Pro Football Focus does a lot of good work, so we'll take their word for it there. But yeah, they have a pretty good schedule here. I have them slightly above the win total. I have them at 12 wins, going 12-5. Very difficult division to predict here. But I will take that even money, as I feel there is an edge there, to take the over 10.5 wins. Next up, we will have the Buffalo Bills. Their win line, same as Baltimore's at 10.5, minus 150 for the over, plus 130 for the under. The Bills just seem to do it every year. They get those wins. They, for the longest time, have had a pretty easy division, getting more difficult now with Miami. I think they're taking a step forward. And then the Jets, of course, bringing in Aaron Rodgers. That's good for the team here. So, if we look at their previous seasons, they got 13 wins last year, 11 the year before, 13, 10. And I also believe that's before we added that extra game. So we won't even include that. And the 13-3 was also without the extra game. So they get an extra game to get over that 10.5 line. I think they also have a decently easy schedule coming into it. Might be the real telling of this division, because their first matchup is against the New York Jets. That'll be very interesting. But then they have teams like Vegas, Washington, Tampa. Those are not scary teams. So I like them for this over. I have them at 11 wins, so just over that 10.5. I will take that favorite at minus money, minus 150 is what I will get them at. Next team here, going back to the NFC South, Carolina Panthers have a win total of 7.5. The over is both the over and the under are at minus odds. The over at minus 105, the under at minus 115. What does that tell me? They have no idea what to expect from this team. They're coming in with rookie quarterback Bryce Young. Rookie quarterbacks, they always have a shaky start. They just do. That's how it goes. I'm curious how it turns out for them with this division. It is not a good division. Atlanta's not great. Carolina's not great. Tampa Bay's not great. And then, the Saints, I do have over 500. So they're probably the best team here. I think that's pretty easy to say. But for the most part, just none of these teams are great. And with that, I still didn't get them over that win total of 7.5. I actually have them getting 5 wins. So I will be taking the under here. I think it's going to take Bryce a little bit of time to get adjusted to the NFL, just like it does for all rookies. So we will be taking the under on that bet. Yeah, and just to kind of add some stats to that, the number of rookie quarterbacks who played at least who started at least 8 games that ended up with 8 wins or more in their first season, of course, as a rookie, is not a common event. Since 2010, 9 quarterbacks have done it. Last year, Kenny Pickett did it. Now, you can't say Kenny Pickett was a great quarterback last year. You probably can't even say he was a good quarterback last year. But the team around him was very solid, and that's what kept them in the game, along with great coaching with Mike Tomlin, who I just talked about. We lose against the bad teams, but he gets that over 500 every year. But Pickett did it. Mac Jones did it his rookie year with New England. Again, great coaching, pretty decent supporting cast. Maybe just both Pickett and Jones had solid defenses. Tua did it his rookie season. Now, this one is a little bit of an outlier because remember, this was the season that Ryan Fitzpatrick was on fire and he was getting a lot of these wins. So while he started 9 games, he didn't win 9 games. There was a lot done by Fitzpatrick there, so probably can exclude that one. Dak did it in his rookie season. He played all 16 games. Geno Smith, that's a super interesting one, right? With how we talk about Geno now, he was not great. He played the entire season. They ended up with more than 8 wins. RG3 played 15 games, over 8 wins. Russ, that's interesting. I didn't know Russell Wilson and RG3 were drafted in the same year. That's news to me. Fun fact, I didn't know that. So 2012 was a good year, apparently, for rookie quarterbacks getting over 8 wins. RG3, Russ, and Andrew Luck all doing it. So that's pretty wild. And then Andy Dalton in 2011 with Cincinnati also did it. Most of those teams are better as a whole than the Carolina Panthers are now. There we go. Just to pull up some more data here. Really quickly, I am getting the QB wins here. So Dak started 16 games his rookie season, won 13. Luck started 16, won 11. Russ started 16, won 11. Mac Jones started 17, won 10. Dalton started 16, won 9. RG3, 15, won 9. Geno, 16, won 8. Kenny Pickett started 12, won 7. So from Pickett and then Tua, like I said, Fitzpatrick won a decent handful of those games. He started 9 and won 6 of them. So while the team finished with 8 or more wins, Pickett and Tua didn't get there by themselves, while those other 7 guys I listed did. So again, just some additional context there. I know I rambled a good bit, but those are some interesting stats to put forward. Long-winded way of saying I'm taking the under 7.5 for the Carolina Panthers at -115. Chicago Bears. I said from the beginning, I'm not a Bears fan. Their line is also at 7.5. I just cannot get behind that. I've ran through this, at least once a week, and then I would announce what I feel, or I predict for each of these, and I just cannot get them there. I give them some easy wins against the Cardinals and the Falcons. I give them a win. Is that it? No, I gave them 4 wins. 1, 2. I give them a win against their division mates, the Lions, which I 100%, I believe the Lions are a better team. But when you're playing division rivals, it almost always feels like a coin toss. They know each other so well that it can go either way. So when not all divisions are as close as this one, so I usually split division wins here, unless one team's really way worse or extremely better than the others. But while Detroit is better than the Lions, I don't think they're vastly better. I know there's a ton of hype around them, but you can't fall into that trap. So I'm taking the under, which is plus money. I will gladly take that. They're at plus 110 for the under, minus 130 for the over. I am easily taking the under for the Bears, and I'm glad they had some plus money there. Cincinnati Bengals, their line also at 10.5, minus 130 for the over, plus 110 for the under. I'm also having Cincinnati finish with 12 wins, which is the same I have for Baltimore. I'm giving them the over here at minus 130. I think Burrow's going to be fine. He didn't play any of the preseason after going down for that injury. He'll be fine. They'll come out. The team is largely the same. P. Ryan's not there anymore, so maybe we get more of the Joe Mixon show. They restructured his deal. I guess they figured out his legal issues, but I guess that's TBD. But it really doesn't matter. The passing game is what I am looking for here in this offense. Their defense is good enough to keep them in games, but their offense is top 3. You know, they're a high-powered offense. There's no doubting that as much as I want to. So I will give them the over, and that will be locked in at minus 130. Next team here, Cleveland Browns. Yet again, another AFC North team. A little bias here, but also running numbers like we do here. That's the name of the damn show. Sleeping with the numbers. I like numbers. I like math. I like stats. Running them here led me to giving the Browns 11. Whoa! I lied to myself. Okay, all right. Wow, the numbers don't lie, do they? And that is upsetting. I was looking at an old one. I gave the Browns 11 wins. I don't feel great about it. The line is 9.5. I'm taking the plus money, plus 115 for the over for the Browns. You know, I was running through their schedule, and with them healthy, they came out and looked great in the Hall of Fame game in terms of the run game. Now, I know it's not the starters or anything like that, but their run game is so good. Their offensive line is good. Their running backs are good. Nick Chubb's probably getting the rushing title this year. That's not a crazy bet. He's done it before. But the AFC North in general, we have easy matchups. We're playing the AFC South. So we get the Colts, we get Tennessee, we get Houston. You know, those are pretty easy for us. The Browns will play the Bears. The Rams aren't great. Oh yeah, we also get the NFC West with the Cardinals. So pretty easy schedule, and the Browns are a okay enough team. I'm not going to call them good. I will never do that. But there's enough here to get them 11 wins. Hopefully. Well, I can't say hopefully because I don't hope this happens. I will gladly take an L on this one if they go under. That would be fine with me. But Watson, you know, he's had more time to work with the team. He should come back closer to what he was when he was in Houston. Now, is he going to get the whole way there? No, because the Browns are a joke of a team. They drafted a kicker in the 4th round and he didn't even make the team. What dumb as hell. But that's the Browns. I want to move on because I've thrown up in my mouth like 4 times saying I think they're going to hit the over on their team wins. But here we are. Dallas. Dallas's line is at 10.5. The under at minus 135. The over at plus 115. I have Dallas getting 12 wins here. Now, I believe they lost their best coach. He's now in Los Angeles with the Chargers, which is also another reason I am very big on the Chargers and Justin Herbert in general. But Cowboys defense, pretty damn good. Dak, given he stays healthy, should be fine. The question marks come in the run game, which is something they would want to do more. We've seen Pollard be good with Zeke. And when Zeke has been out for one reason or another, he's done a good enough job. Now, can he hold his own the entire season? I don't know. He's not the biggest dude. He's going to get rattled around a good bit. So we'll see if he holds out the whole season. But if they do, I do believe they will hit the over here. And I'm taking them at the plus 115. Denver Broncos. Sean Payton's supposed to come in and save the day. Nobody knows what to think of them. The over and the under is both at -110. The line at 8.5. That is so high. I have them ending the season with 5 wins. I do not think Sean Payton can come in and save this team. I think they are doomed. There's bad vibes everywhere around there. I want nothing to do with them. I hope Javonte has a good season. Judy's already hurt. Tim Patrick's out for the season. But most importantly, Russell Wilson is still their quarterback. I've been saying it forever. He's done. Quit saying he's not. He is. He's done. So easy under for me. Honestly, if I wanted to move this line down to 6.5, I could get it at +235. +400 if I bring it down to 5.5. So that's some interesting options for me because I do not believe in this team one bit. I don't think you can just come in, be like, oh, here's a new coach, everything's better now. It's not. When has that worked? Not in any time I can think of, but I got the mind of a goldfish, so maybe I just don't remember. But Denver, no faith. I'm taking that under. Detroit, this was a very close one. I have them at exactly 9 wins. Their line is at 9.5, -120 to the over. Even money for the under. I'll take the under for the even money. I like Detroit. They're a fun team to watch. I just do not buy into all the hype around them. It's just a little bit too much. I hope Gibbs has a great season. Hope Amon-Ra has a great season. As a team, I just don't see that much. Even though Dan Campbell's currently the favorite for Coach of the Year. So we're going to get into the season award bets here at the end of the show. Coach of the Year is not one I'm going to do. It's just such a weird thing to bet on. It's very hard to track statistics towards it all. So I won't be doing that one. But I will take the under at even money. Packers. This one was also very close. I was surprised I got to where I did with them. I know everyone's freaked out with Aaron Rodgers going away, Jordan Love coming in, but the rest of the team, they're basically the same. Love is okay. He's not great. But I do have the Packers getting 7 wins here, which does put it at the under, which is at even money, -120 for the over. But I will take that even money bet for the Packers to get under 7.5 wins. Houston. I don't know how some of these lines, when I see them, I just get confused. They're at 6.5 wins. Now the favorite is the under, of course, at -130, and the over is at +110. But the line itself is just feels high to me. Stroud didn't look great. Obviously he's a starting quarterback. That's to nobody's surprise. They have an easier division. Titans and the Jags are miles ahead of the Texans and the Colts. But I could barely find any wins to give them. I tried. It's like, okay, they're not going to finish 0-17. It's not going to happen. That's such a difficult thing to do. You would really have to try to get 0 wins. And that's why, if you take the 0-win bet, I think it's like plus 10,000 or something ridiculous. But I have the Texans with 2 wins. I only have them beating the Colts. Is it 2 Colts? I have them beating the Colts twice. So there you go. Not great. So I'm taking the under at -130. And then talking about the Colts, I have no confidence in them at all. But they have the same line as the Texans. But the over is the favorite at -120. They have obviously very similar schedules, playing the same division, within the same division, and then they play the same NFC division, and then another AFC division, and then whatever place they finished as last year. So it's like they'll peek behind the curtain here. I gave the Colts no wins. Now I don't believe that's going to happen. I just said that's highly unlikely to happen, and even if you try to make that happen like they do on South Park, it's very difficult. They'll fumble their way into a win or two, maybe more. But this just is to show kind of my conviction that I don't believe in this team. The numbers don't believe in this team. And that leads to an easy under for me at even money. Jacksonville. So all their names are the same, and we're running through the same division here. Jacksonville, I have them winning their division with a record at 10-7. This was also very close with them and the Titans. The Jags even have a win total of 9.5, and I'm going the over, which is currently the favorite at -140. The Chiefs, current Super Bowl favorites, obviously after winning the Super Bowl, it would make sense for them to be the favorite again. They are tied for the highest win total with Philadelphia at 11.5. The over is the favorite at -140, the under at +120. I have the Chiefs going 15-2. There's not a ton to say here. They are really good. And again, I've said this every time I've gone through these lists, is don't focus so much on the numbers. They are projections, obviously. What it is more meant to be is, am I more open to taking the over or the under? And with the Chiefs, they seem to do it all the time. I will take that over. Now, for their division mates, the LA Chargers, their line is at 9.5, even money for the under, -120 for the over. And this is what I mean. So I have the Chargers going 16-1. That's probably not going to happen. But what that tells me is myself, my model, we believe in the Chargers here quite a bit. Obviously enough to take the over at -120. I think it can be a real battle. I feel like I've said this multiple times, but I just like the Chargers a lot. I want to root for Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. I just like all of those dudes for real football and for fantasy. So we'll be talking about Justin Herbert later here in the show, but I am taking the over at -120 pretty easily. Los Angeles Rams, their line at 6.5, over at -105, under at -115. I have them with a worse record than the Cardinals, finishing at 3-14. Will that happen? Again, probably not. But it's enough to tell me, hey, I'm taking the under at -115. They have not looked good. Stafford, I worry about his injuries. Is Cam Akers good? I really don't know. He's looked good enough, but he's had his problems with the team. You get Cooper Kupp coming back, and I think he immediately injured his hamstring early in the preseason. So again, can they get back to their winning ways? Is the Sean McVay train derailed? I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore about the Rams. So until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to bet against them. So under 6.5 wins for the Rams. Vegas, yes, they get Josh Jacobs back, which helps them a little bit. But that hasn't really changed how I think about them, and the model doesn't so much take that into account. So -130 for the under, 6.5, +110 for the over. I have them getting 4 wins, so that will be an under for me. Miami, their line is set at 9.5. This was also another very close one, much like the Jets. The over at even money, under at -120. This division, it's a toss-up across the board. Bills probably end up first, but the battle for second is real. All three of those teams have a chance to do it. I know a lot of people count New England out. That is such a difficult thing to do with Bill Belichick. He always finds a way to get it done. So Miami, I'm taking that under at -120. Minnesota Vikings, their line at 8.5, which surprises me a little bit. I guess there's some variables here. The loss of Dalvin Cook. Now it's that Alexander Madison show. But Jefferson's still there. They draft Jordan Addison to replace Thielen. We'll see what happens there. But that was an easy over for me. Both the over and the under are -110. For the 8.5 line, I have them getting 12 wins and still winning their division. And that's what I will take here, locking that in as over for -110. And then we get to the Patriots. I think their line dropped since I looked at this? It might have. 6.5. No, okay, that's the same. It's just, I guess I'm surprised to see it at 6.5, which was the same as like Atlanta and Houston and the Colts. Wait, that can't be right, but it is. These lines are wild to me. I understand Patriots are in a very competitive division. -140 for the over, so people are on that bet. The sharps are on that bet. I'm on that too. Probably not nearly as sharp, but I will be taking the over 6.5 at -140. They find a way to get it done. I know they have difficult divisional games, but they have pretty non-difficult conference matchups with the Colts. I believe that means they play Houston as well. No, just the Colts. But then they'll play teams like Washington. They will play, I hate to say it, but they play the Steelers, and they always find a way to beat us when they shouldn't. But old Billy gets it done quite often. I have them going 8 and 9. The Saints, their line coming in at 9.5, and I have them getting 13 wins, which is shocked the absolute hell out of me. I have made it well known I don't like Derek Carr. I don't believe in him, but they are probably pretty easily the best team in this division. So give them 6 wins. I do have them going undefeated against their division. Then they get to play some other teams like the Bears. They play what else we got? The Rams, who I obviously don't believe in. The Green Bay one might be a little bit of a toss-up, but for the most part, their schedule, it's an easy one. So while I do not really believe they're going to make it the whole way to 13 wins, they should get over that 9.5, which is at plus odds, currently at plus 105, under at -125. But give me that over, I guess. The New York Giants, they're also a super interesting team. To me, they get Saquon back. Daniel Jones obviously still there. Who the hell are they going to throw the ball to besides Darren Waller? I have no idea. Defense is okay. Their line currently at 7.5. Even money for the over, -120 for the under. I'm taking that over just barely by a game and a half. I have them getting a winning record and going 9-8, 3-3 within their division. I think they're a little bit underrated at the moment. They could surprise us a good bit. Their defense, it's good enough. It might have taken a step back. But if you keep Saquon and Waller healthy, those two can score on any single play. I don't know who the wide receivers to look for there are. You have some young guys, and then you have some older dudes like Slayton. It'll be interesting to see, but don't take your eye off them. I think they might surprise. So I'll be taking that over for even money. The Jets, 9.5 line. I said it 2 weeks ago now at this point. They're going to get that Hard Knocks bump. And then that is when I'm going to take it. The line is currently now at 9.5. I took this when it was at 10.5 because that was way too high. I had it at 10.5 and I got the under at -105. So that feels like a steal to me. It's just, there's too much hype around them. They're getting smoke blown up their ass. Obviously Aaron Rodgers coming to town is going to be a literal game changer for the team. But I can he push them over the edge? I don't even think I have them making playoffs. I don't. I have them missing playoffs. So I understand the hype. I think fantasy is going to be super fun. Their offensive line obviously needs work. They called that out in Hard Knocks, and Pro Football Focus has given them pretty bad ratings across the preseason. I don't know if the change at quarterback is just going to be what was keeping them from going to that next level. Aaron looked great, but I'm still going to be taking that under. I have them at 9 wins. So even at this new 9.5 line, which is also the same odds that I got for the 10.5, is at -105. So I would still take that, but why would I when I have the line a little bit higher and I'm taking the under. Philadelphia Eagles tied for the highest win total at 11.5, over at -105, under at -115. I will be taking the over at the -105. They've just shown they can do it. They have a good defense. They are a scary team. And yet again, I have them making it to the Super Bowl. The NFC's pretty scattered at this point in time. It seems to be Philly, the Niners, and then, take your pick. And I don't believe in the Niners very much. Something seems to go wrong for them every season, keeping them from making it to the big game. But not for Philly. So I think Philly will get it done. I have them at 15 wins. So easy over for me. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a line of 8.5, somehow less than the Browns because people are dumb. I don't know. Some of these lines are just confusing to me. They've looked great all preseason, but I didn't want that to get me too excited. Really what matters is Pickett is understanding the offense better. He's passing around the ball a bit more. He was really, 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 really bad his rookie season in terms of metrics, and all he needs to do is be average. Be average. We have a good defense to keep you in the game. We don't need much more from that. Ben, if we go back to when Ben played, he was never considered one of the best quarterbacks while he was playing, right? Brady was there, Rodgers was there, Mahomes near the end of his career. It was just he was always kind of discounted as a player, and he always had a fantastic supporting cast, which helped him out. And that's what makes, a good team. It starts from the quarterback, but when you get that supporting cast, the quarterback doesn't have to do everything. He doesn't have to put the entire game on his shoulders. So I think that's all Kenny needs to do for the Steelers, and let everyone else help. So I have the Steelers with 11 wins, which is the same I had the Browns at. So that will be the over at -145 for the Steelers. Seattle, their win line is at 9.5, +125 for the over, -155 for the under. I have them barely hitting the over. I have them going 10-7. So I think this is the biggest underdog I have in my line. Yes, it is. So the at +125 odds, those are the longest odds for any team I have here. So I will be taking the over here for Seattle, over 9.5. I have them getting 10 wins, so they're just barely making it. So if you don't feel comfortable tailing that bet, no worries. There's a few teams left here. San Francisco, I say I don't believe them, and then when I run through all this, I have them winning their division at 12-5. Their win total is at 10.5. The over is favored at -145. The under at +125. They always find ways to get wins in the regular season, good coaching and all that, but it's injuries and lack of depth that keeps them from winning in the playoffs. And that's pretty much what it feels like is going to happen here. Trey Lance is gone. It's now Sam Darnold as the backup behind Brock Purdy. So if Purdy goes down, Darnold comes to town. I made that rhyme for no reason. There's no depth in that team, it feels like, and that's going to hurt them. However, regular season, they always seem to get the win, so I will take the over at minus 145. Tampa Bay, win line at 6.5. I will have the under here at minus 140. The over is at plus 120. It's a bad division, so they get a few wins here and there from their division. Baker sucks butt. Their line sucks butt. I don't know if I trust Rashard White. We'll see what he can do. Defense, defense isn't terrible, so I guess I'll give them that. But I have them going 5-12, which will be the under at minus 140. Two more teams: Tennessee Titans. Line at 7.5. I have them going 9-8, so we will take the over at minus 125. Hopkins comes to town. Still the Derrick Henry show. That's really the key highlight. Will Levis looked terrible, so he will not be taking over for Ryan Tannehill anytime soon. So they're pretty much a middle of the pack team. Easy division with Houston and the Colts there. So you give them 4 easy wins, they can pull out another 5. So I will be taking the over at minus 125. Final team, Washington Commanders. Their line at 6.5. They're another confusing team to me. Terry McLaurin got injured early. He seems to be okay now. Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson should be a good 1-2 punch. That defense is supposed to be good, but they've been all over the place. So I don't know if I really believe that. Ron Rivera it might be his last year as a head coach. We will see what happens, but he has not looked great since coming to town. So with that said, I'm taking the under at minus 120. The over is even money if you had any interest in that. Cool. So that will do it for our season-long win total bets. Next episode, I will go through the award winners for MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, like I said, and then when we get to the coaches, I don't bet on that. So that's what we will discuss next episode. I will be going through quite a handful of different picks here because with these award bets, the best quote-unquote odds for a favorite is usually like plus 600 or something. So you essentially can hedge, get a lot of ammo to use, and go from there. But that'll do it for this episode. Best of luck.